Are you guys looking for a coffee that could potentially make you think a little faster? Well, Chimera Coffee has the coffee for you. Go to chimeracoffee.com, type in the coupon code SHOWTHEART, and you can save 10% on their nootropic infused coffee. Google search nootropics, NOOTROPICS, and learn what they can do for your brain and help you talk and think and do jiu-jitsu better. In addition to the caffeine, it will make you feel great. So go to chimeracoffee.com, buy one of their bags, buy all their products, use the coupon code, save some money. Our next sponsor is Inverted Gear. Go to invertedgear.com, type in the coupon code SHOWTHEART15 because we know you like to save 15% off on your jiu-jitsu gis, your rash guards, their shorts. They now sell jiu-jitsu gi pants separately, so you could just buy the pants. For all you no-gi heads out there, go to invertedgear.com, type in the coupon code, save 15% on all their products. It's a great deal, so do it. Our next sponsor, M85. Go to m85.com, type in the coupon code STA20, and you can save 20% off all his gear. He makes our logo. He does all our graphics for us. He's a great guy, great designer. Hit him up. He's a hard worker. Give him your money. You won't regret it. And lastly, go to showtheart.com, hit the store button. That'll take you to our Store Envy site, and type in the coupon code STAPOD, save 20%. All our products, we still got hoodies up there. Get them while they're hot. Get them while they're still available, because soon they won't be, and then you're going to be mad that you didn't purchase them. So go to showtheart.com and type in the coupon code STAPOD. Welcome to the Show the Art podcast. I am your host, Abraham Awad. Welcome. Thank you guys for listening. Today, I'm solo. I'm by myself because everybody's apparently busy and no one wants to talk to me, but it's all good. We got to release these episodes. We got to give you guys entertainment while you're working, while you're driving to your jobs, or while you're sitting at your desk, editing your photos on your computer, or making calls, or doing whatever you got to do. That's why we're here, to help you out. Hopefully you guys watch MMA. Hopefully you watch jiu-jitsu. I watch them both. I'm a big fan of sports. I'm a big fan of MMA and jiu-jitsu. And I'm starting to get into boxing a little more. And speaking of boxing, Canelo Alvarez just fought Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. I don't know how to say junior in Spanish. And it was a good fight. I watched it. I don't watch much boxing, but I understand boxing very well. I used to train boxing, and I spar all the time, so I kind of get a good feeling, a good understanding of what's going on. And guys, I highly recommend, if you are going to try and truly understand the sport, you need to play it. You need to do it. If you're really going to understand basketball and what goes through people's minds, you got to play the game. If you really want to understand MMA and what's going through the fighters' minds, including strategy, what they're thinking, what are the possibilities of why they're fighting a certain way or not, you need to watch it. And it could be boxing, it could be jiu-jitsu competitions, or it could even be MMA matches. So I suggest, if you're a big fan of a sport, I suggest casually training in that sport, playing that sport, getting a little bit more hands-on with that sport. It'll give you a much better understanding of how to view the sport, especially something like combat sports, like boxing. I mean, boxing is the easiest to understand. Who landed the most punches to the face? Or who made the other guy miss more? You know, like it's pretty like apparent. And boxing's been around so long in America. I mean, in the world, period, but especially in America, it's been embedded in our culture. Kind of everybody has watched a boxing fight and gets it, you know. But with MMA, there's a lot more moving parts. There's a lot more pieces to the puzzle. I mean, boxing is one thing that somebody can do in an MMA fight, but it's not the only thing they can do, nor is it something they have to do. So that's what makes MMA a little hard to understand. And again, like I said, you can watch MMA all you want. You can watch so many fights. You can watch every single fight, whether it's UFC, Bellator, local competitions, local events. It really doesn't matter. At the end of the day, if you don't spar, if you don't train, if you don't understand, have been through the fire almost, you don't have to compete, but understanding it, going live, understanding that when somebody's hitting you with a jab for a round, it throws you off big time. And when you can't get your rhythm, that was affected by something. And when you see people in a fight, and going back to the Chavez versus Canelo fight, Chavez just got picked apart. And, people are wondering, like, Chavez, just throw punches. You're sitting there, you're waiting, you're moving backwards, you're just getting hit. But what you don't understand is that he's getting hit. Canelo set the groundwork early, and he picked him apart early, and he showed him his power early. And all that stuff made Chavez hesitate. And the longer the fight goes on, if you don't know how to break that hesitation, break what's going on, figure out what your opponent's doing, kind of stop them from doing it, and resetting your mind and gaining your rhythm, it's tough. It's tough to come back from. And you keep going deeper and deeper in a hole of hesitation. And, sometimes all it takes is a good jab that does that. And if you don't train, you don't spar, you don't really, you haven't really hit pads or hit the bag, you won't really fully get that. So, all those little things. I mean, you can, if somebody explains it to you and, you really talk to somebody about it, for sure you can start understanding a little bit more. But like I said, nothing beats being in the fire. So I recommend if you are into a sport, give it a try. Plus, it's only going to help you out learning how to defend yourself properly and getting in shape, Even if you're really in shape from the gym, lifting weights, whatever, just get in the gym, train a little boxing, train a whole lot of jiu-jitsu because it's fun, and, try to mix it together, train some kickboxing, some savate, train wrestling, train judo, whatever you could get your hands on. And try to mix it up. Try to hit some pads. Do a little sparring, even if it's light sparring. Even if you're barely touching the face. Just the idea that somebody's going to hit you in the face and you got to get out of the way, or you got to block, or you got to do something with it. Just that puzzle, it's going to give you a better understanding of the sport, and I suggest you do that. So I feel like that's what happened in the Canelo-Alvarez fight. Sometimes it's more than just one guy being better. Why is he better? And obviously the fight showed that Canelo Alvarez is a better boxer, a better fighter, better athlete. But, why? And when you spar, when you train a little, you talk to coaches, you go through the fire a little bit, you get an understanding, you can kind of figure out why you're on your own. And, Canelo, he had nice jabs. He would break rhythm and throw 1-2, break in action, and then throw a bomb of a combination. And he kept pushing Cesar Chavez back. And anytime Chavez kind of was about to throw a strike or threw a 1-2, landed a combination, every single time the power puncher in Canelo would just fire back with an even longer combination. And he was just slipping punches, and he took Chavez off his rhythm. Chavez couldn't get back. Canelo Alvarez's confidence just kept growing and growing and growing, and that's how the fight ended up the way it did. Obviously, now we know that they're setting up Canelo Alvarez versus the Triple G, Gennady Golovkin, whatever. That's going to be a great fight. I think that's a really interesting fight. Two power strikers, two really good boxers, two guys that kind of just don't falter. So we'll see what happens with that. Anyway, moving on, MMA. There's some big events that are happening soon. UFC 211. Oh, snap. 211 featuring the main event, heavyweight main event, to determine who's the baddest man on the planet. Stipe Miocic versus the challenger, Junior Dos Santos. This is a rematch. They fought a couple years ago. It was 2 or 3 years ago. This is when Stipe was on his rise. And Junior, slapped him right back down. It wasn't controversial. It was very close, Junior got the nod. So Junior's coming. That's what makes this fight a little bit more interesting. Junior got the nod. Junior's coming in as the challenger who defeated the champion years ago. So there's a little confidence there. Plus, they fought each other, so they both kind of know each other. This fight can either end up in a highly hesitant fight. Both guys are power strikers. Both guys are movers. Both guys like to keep people at the end of their punches. But both guys know how to go in for the kill. That's what makes this fight super interesting. And now the opposite. Stipe is the champ. Stipe is the guy with the momentum. Junior hasn't even fought. It's been a while since Junior fought. I forget how long, how many months, maybe a little under a year. But this is super interesting. I suggest everybody watch it. This is probably going to end in a knockout, most likely. But, I mean, their last fight, they went the distance, so who knows? I just know that these are two of the most dynamic heavyweight strikers, fastest heavyweight strikers. So it's going to be a good fight. It's going to be a really good fight. That's the main event for that. And then just the rest of the card. Joanna, champion, versus Jessica Andrade, sorry. An amazing fight. Jessica, she can bang. She can throw bombs. She can throw kicks. She has good wrestling, good jiu-jitsu. Obviously better than Joanna's. So, every fight too is comprised of many games, many battles that you have to win. Okay? If it's standing, who has better striking? Who has better timing? Who can throw the other person off their rhythm? Who can disrupt their momentum? If you land a jab and then I slip the next jab, what's going to happen after that? Is my striking better than your striking defense? And then is my striking offense better than, vice versa, and so on and so forth. And then when it gets to the grappling, when people start to take each other down, and whether they're off the fence or they're on their butt in the middle of the canvas, it becomes many battles. It shouldn't be one whole long blur of a fight. It's like if Jessica is able to double leg, go for a double leg against Joanna, who's better there? Is Jessica's double leg transitions to get the fight to the ground offensively better than Joanna's, double leg defense, her sprawls, her pummeling, her circling out, those types of things? And then once that's done, what if she gets her to the ground? Is Joanna's ground defense better than Jessica's offense? And can Joanna switch her defense into offense? Probably not. She doesn't play with fire like that on the ground. She's either on top or not on the floor at all. She's just trying to get back up. So we'll see. I mean, it's fun to think of MMA like mini battles like that. And that's how you should, because that's what those people are thinking. That's what the champions are thinking. Every little exchange is a mini battle. So, when you think of it like that, the fight seems more interesting, in my opinion. Next fight is Demian Maia versus Jorge Masvidal. Classic striker versus grappler, jiu-jitsu guy. Jorge can bang. Jorge can throw power shots. He's good at he's much better at striking than Demian Maia. But Demian Maia, the question is Masvidal better at keeping the fight standing than Maia is at taking the fight to the ground? And who can get off first? And who can keep it in their territory? That's going to be the winner. And this is going to be way more obvious because it's a grappler versus a striker. And Demian Maia has shown lately that he's not trying to strike you. He's not trying to punch you. He's not trying to exchange. He's just trying to get the fight to the ground, and he's very effective at doing it now and at keeping it there during multiple rounds. So, even though people know his strategy, he seems to still get it done that way the last couple of fights. So this is going to be a really interesting fight. I don't know who's going to win. I have my money on the jiu-jitsu guy only because I'm a jiu-jitsu guy. But Jorge, if he wins via anything, it won't surprise me because he's a great wrestler. He's a great striker, and he's gritty. He's got cardio. He could take a shot. He has everything. I mean, if he beats Maia, I could see him winning the belt. He's a contender for sure. Next fight is Frankie, the Answer, Edgar versus Yair Rodriguez. Great fight. This is fundamentals versus special moves. Secret move. Very interesting. Frankie's very good at the fundamentals of striking, of boxing, of moving in and out, of kickboxing, neutralizing opponents, being really fast, slipping punches, getting in, getting out, making them miss, mixing in takedowns, wrestling, keeping them on their toes. And he's done it for years, and he's got experience. But he's also fighting a young guy who doesn't give up. Yair doesn't care. That's why he throws like 10 spinning whatever kicks around. That's why he throws, a bunch of awkward to defend kicks, falling to the floor, cartwheel kicks, things like that. It makes it very hard, very difficult to time and to figure out. And, he has very good jiu-jitsu. He has very good jiu-jitsu off his back. So Yair, he's very dangerous. It's always scary for an experienced guy to go against a young, dangerous guy that's willing to do whatever it takes, that's willing to grind like Yair is, that's willing to go 100% for 3 rounds. But will the experienced guy take it? I am a betting man. If I were a betting man, I would give it to the experienced guy. But again, Yair makes things interesting. He makes things fun. Is he able to implement more fundamentals in this fight that fill in the gaps, that make it a little bit harder for your opponent to see your fancy kicks coming? If he does that, he can beat Frankie. But we'll have to tune in and find out. The next fight on that card is going to be Henry Cejudo versus Anthony Pettis' younger brother, Sergio Pettis. Sergio is an exciting fighter. I like him a lot. So is Henry Cejudo. He's a great fighter. He's a champion wrestler. He's an Olympic wrestler. He's an Olympic champion wrestler. And this is going to be an interesting fight. It's the classic, again, wrestler versus striker. Sergio Pettis' striking game is super dynamic. He's great at moving in and out of the pocket, great at counter-striking. Henry Cejudo is super powerful. He throws bombs, he throws heat, and he's obviously got wrestling in his back pocket and his front pocket and his collar, his fucking collar shirt pocket, everywhere. He's got wrestling, and this is a very interesting fight. If Henry Cejudo wins this, it keeps him at his spot. But if Sergio wins this can skyrocket him up to the top of the division. And, God knows that Demetrius Johnson needs more competitors. So this could be really good for him. Henry Cejudo, I think if he wins this fight, I think he should be the next in line. If he wins this fight, I think he should have a rematch with Demetrius Johnson. And that would be the fight that takes Demetrius Johnson over the next level as far as breaking Anderson Silva and his record for most consecutive title defenses. I think Henry Cejudo is the perfect opponent, especially since DJ beat everybody already. So pretty much any fight he has now is going to be a rematch. But if any rematch would be his hardest, I think it's Henry Cejudo. He took care of Henry Cejudo in their last fight. But still, Henry Cejudo has the game that can beat Demetrius Johnson, and that's a heavy wrestling game. A guy who can impose his will with the wrestling and keep you down. If you keep DJ down, he can't beat you. So not many people could do that, but I think Henry has the capabilities of doing that. And if he wins this fight and they give him the rematch, I think that is the best match up to make. Finally, on this card, at least, the one to talk about, this is the main event on the FX prelims. That is Eddie Alvarez, former champ, versus Dustin Poirier. Interesting fight. Both guys like to strike. Both guys like to wrestle. Eddie Alvarez coming off a devastating loss against Conor McGregor. Devastating knockout. And Dustin Poirier, he's coming off a win. Dustin Poirier, on the other hand, both guys, this is going to be a tough fight. Very interesting fight. I can't pick a winner for this one. I like both guys, and I think both guys have the capabilities of beating the other one. Dustin Poirier is on the rise, and Eddie Alvarez is up there. If Eddie Alvarez wins, he deserves a rematch for the title. If Dustin can beat Eddie Alvarez, I think that launches him up to title contention. That's something he's been chasing for a while. And, this is going to be a really exciting fight. Definitely check it out. Next event after that is going to be UFC Fight Night on May 28th. That's Gustafsson versus Glover Teixeira. I'm super interested in this fight. Both these guys, really tough competitors, both title contenders. or former title contenders. The winner of this puts himself right up there to face whoever the light heavyweight champion is at the time. Is it still Daniel Cormier? Is it the winner of Daniel Cormier versus whoever? Is it the winner of Daniel Cormier versus John Bones Jones? Who knows? But if either of these guys win, guaranteed, I believe they're going to get a title shot next. And what's a great division now, the light heavyweight division. The next event after that is UFC 212. That's in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. That is headlined by the great Jose Aldo versus Max Holloway. Champion versus interim champion. Featherweight division king Aldo versus the rising star Max Holloway. This is going to be a very interesting fight. Both guys are in their prime, honestly. I mean, Max Holloway is very young, but I don't know, man. I don't know who to choose. I'm going to go with Aldo because he's proven time and time again that he can beat anybody. He's a very powerful striker. Max Holloway seems to be the taller, lankier fighter, but in fact, I believe Aldo's reach is just as long. I know Max Holloway is a little taller, but Aldo is such a powerful striker. He's such a quick mover. He can take you down too. He can threaten you with that, and he's been a champion for a long freaking time. Obviously, he lost to Conor, but he came back and put on a masterful performance against Frankie Edgar. The only thing is, Max Holloway has been fighting, and Aldo hasn't fought since UFC 200, which was, months ago, almost a year ago. Now, that does go with Jose Aldo's, career thus far. The last couple of years, he doesn't fight very often, but he performs in every fight. He knows how to take a long layoff and turn it into a great performance. And I think he will do that, but don't count Max Holloway out. I think many people are counting on him to win because he's been on a meteoric rise. So I think this is going to be a very interesting fight. May the best man win. Like I said, my money is going to be on the experience in this fight, and that's Jose Aldo. Next fight on that card is Anderson Silva versus TBD, to be determined. Anderson was supposed to fight Kelvin Gastelum, but Kelvin failed the drug test for marijuana, I believe, and got taken off the card. So far it's just Anderson versus himself. I think Anderson wins that fight. Hopefully he gets a fighter that... I don't know who can fight Anderson. I know he was asking for a bunch of opponents. I don't think he deserves an interim title fight, even though he's number 1 or number 2 all-time great. I don't believe he deserves a title fight right now, but I think he can easily get that Uriah Hall fight, the one that was supposed to happen but didn't. That would be an excellent fight to watch. I believe him versus Yoel, not title fight, is a great fight. Him versus Luke Rockhold is a fight I've been wanting to see. Him versus Gegard Mousasi. Him versus anybody is going to be a good fight. Do I want to see him fight the absolute best guys? Yes and no. Yes, because I'm always going to believe in Anderson, and he's the champ. He's the king, man, forever. And I believe that he has an X factor in striking that can take out anybody. But at this point of his career, with the amount of losses he's put together since he's lost his belt to Chris Weidman, I don't believe it's in his interest and the UFC's best interest to put him in the position where he's more likely to lose against tough guys that are on a winning streak, that are looking like they can't be defeated. Guys like Yoel Romero. So I don't know. I mean, it's very interesting. I think they should preserve Anderson's legacy and preserve his aura. I believe he still has it intact, but he takes a couple more L's. It's not looking so hot. So I think he can fight anybody, even Robert Whittaker, sorry. Not John Lineker. Even Robert Whittaker. I'd love to see that fight, but I don't know if I'd love to see that fight because Robert Whittaker can knock him out. But Anderson is fighting Robert. If Anderson fought Robert Whittaker, that's a fight that he would love, because that's an aggressive striker that plays right into his counter-striking game plan. But it's a scary fight for a legend, an older legend like Anderson Silva. But I'll always count Anderson into the fight. I'm always going to believe in him. I'm always going to root for him. I just hope he finds a competitor that he could put on a good show with. There's a bunch of fights on that card. There's a lot of things going on. But I think that's it. I'm going to call it quits. This is a fun episode. Again, guys, if you like this show, if you like this episode, please give us a like on iTunes. Give us a good rating on iTunes. Always download the episodes, even if you don't need to download it. Just download it and delete it. That helps us out a lot. Our numbers keeps us keeps us relevant, and it allows us to continue with this podcast. Again, if you rate us and you leave a review, please leave a good one. We hope that you would leave a good one. Those go really far, those reviews. So please leave a review. Shout out to our sponsors, Chimera Coffee, Inverted Gear, M85. Check out their websites. Buy their stuff. Support them. Like their pages. Do all that fun stuff. And we support you guys. We support all the jiu-jitsu athletes out there, all the MMA athletes out there, all the fans out there. Keep supporting us and we'll reciprocate. And again, always use the hashtag #ShowTheArt. We'd be more than happy to repost you if you have something really cool that you've posted, or you're wearing some of our dope-ass gear. Thank you. Over and out.